Ethiopia's House of People's Representatives on Thursday ratified a 6-month state of emergency rule amidst expanding conflict in the northern part of the country. On Tuesday, the Ethiopian Council of Ministers had announced a state of emergency rule pending endorsement by the House of People's Representatives, the lower house of the Ethiopian parliament. The move came as the conflict that erupted a year ago in the Tigray region between the Ethiopian federal government and forces loyal to the rebel group expanded into neighboring Amhara and Afar regions. On Tuesday, authorities in Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa, announced they have started a 2-day weapons registration drive. In the meantime, the United States envoy to the Horn of Africa, Jeffrey Feltman, is visiting Addis Ababa to press for a peaceful solution to the war in the northern part of the country. Feltman's visit comes as Tigrayan fighters have made some advances towards the capital in recent fighting. The envoy is to meet government representatives a year after Tigrayan insurgents seized federal army bases, leading to a conflict that has since claimed thousands of lives. Earlier, the United States authorized the voluntary departure of non-essential government employees. Britain also urges citizens to leave while commercial options are still available. Now, join us live on NC Continental Prime to unpack this is Oluwaseyi Adeyemo, the publisher of Inside Watch Africa magazine. Hi, good evening, Oluwaseyi.
Hi, good evening.
It's been a year of a civil war in Ethiopia's Tigray region. How would you assess this war?
I would say that this was an avoided war. It's a war that Africans all over the world will have preferred did not cope because, as it were, Abiy, the president of Ethiopia, the prime minister of Ethiopia, had received an award, and everyone had acclaimed that this was the man that was going to teach the rest of African leaders peace, the person who was going to teach us how to live amongst ourselves with our neighbors in peace. Unfortunately, he is now sort of driving a war within his own country, and in my opinion, that is an unfortunate situation.
I'm happy that you mentioned the fact that Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed did win the Nobel Prize for Peace a few years ago. Today, he's called on civilians to take up arms against Tigrayan forces. Does it sound like the Ethiopian forces are winning the war? And also, wouldn't this lead to an escalation of the conflict?
It obviously shows that there's a problem at home. The fact that it is encouraging civilians to carry arms, is encouraging its people to fight themselves, is definitely an unfortunate situation. And like you said, it shows clearly that the war is not being won. One had thought that he came into office based on the fact that the Tigrayan Liberation Front was perceived as a people who were aggressive. They were oppressive in the way they conducted themselves, and he came in to sort of change that narrative. But unfortunately, today is driving or championing a war or telling his people to carry up arms against themselves. And again, I say that is truly unfortunate.
Now, there's been calls for ceasefire in the Ethiopian conflict, and is threatening to engulf the capital. There's words that Tigrayan rebels are moving towards the 250 miles from the capital, Addis Ababa, as the United States Special Envoy is set to arrive. Uganda's president, too, has also called for mediation efforts from the East African bloc to try and, douse the tension in that region. Do you think all these diplomatic efforts, the visit of the United States Special Envoy, would douse the temperature in that region? Would it do anything to calm nerves?
As it stands, everything that needs to be thrown onto the table has to be thrown onto the table. The diplomacy, the discussion, the fact that everyone, I mean, now, you see, one of the things that we've learned over time, particularly coming out of COVID, is the fact that whatever happens anywhere in the world affects the rest of the world. So the US envoy, coming into this matter is very, very important. We're happy that they've taken it upon themselves to come. And everyone that can please help to please speak sense into all the actors. And I mean now, even the Tigrayan forces. It's important that everybody understand that when something like this happens, it is the people that suffer. We've had of cases where people are being raped. We've had of a situation where people are losing their homes, and a lot of things are happening to the generality of the people. So whatever is happening, whether it's on the side of government, and I mean the federal government of Ethiopia right now, or the Tigrayan region, it would affect the people of Ethiopia, and that is something that all of us must have our hands on deck to make sure that we quickly, decisively take care of.
I'll let you go, Sheyi. The United Nations Human Rights Council has said, both sides of the conflict have they've been accused of violating human rights and may have committed war crimes. This conflict has gone on militarily, and now we're seeing diplomatic efforts to end it. What do you see as the way forward towards solving the escalating crisis in Ethiopia?
Short run, the diplomatic measure is the way to go. I would say in the medium run, it will be important that we'll impress it on our people, that leadership is about the people. I mean, you have a country here that they have 10 regions and they have an amount of autonomy. And I think that is very, very important, that whatever is done, that is taken into consideration, and you don't have a situation, because you already have their separate military, they have their separate police. And if you then want to take that away from them, I know it will be resisted. So whoever is leading Africans, and I mean anywhere in Africa right now, must take into consideration that leadership is about the people, and you must always allow equity to come into play in whatever you do. So let diplomacy play out in the short run, but in the long run and medium run, let Africans talk to themselves and make sure that we deal with ourselves equitably in everything that we do.
Thank you very much, Oluwaseyi Adeyemo. We do appreciate your insights on the subject.
Thank you so much for having me.